I'm here today with a heart full of joy as I tell you a story that completely changed my life. My name is Omar Hassan. I'm 23 years old, and I now live in Toronto, Canada. But this story begins far from here, in Amman, Jordan, where I was born and raised. Amman is a busy city with narrow streets full of people, markets selling bread, spices and grilled meat, and the sound of the call to prayer ringing out 5 times a day. My parents and I lived in a small apartment in a working-class neighborhood. The walls were so thin that I could hear neighbors talking, laughing, or arguing late into the night. The air always smelled like coffee and dust. Every morning I'd wake up to the sound of pots and pans as my mum made breakfast: bread, cheese, olives, and strong tea. I'm an only child, so all of my parents' hopes and dreams were on me. My dad, Hassan, is 48. He's a taxi driver who worked long hours driving through Amman's traffic to make ends meet. He was a strict man with a loud voice, and sometimes his temper would scare me. He'd come home sweaty and tired, saying, "Omar, you need to be a better Muslim. Study hard. Make us proud." He wanted me to become an engineer so our family would be respected, but his expectations felt like a huge weight on my back. I was always scared of failing him, of not being good enough. My mom, Isla, is 42. She's a kind and caring woman who spent her days cooking, cleaning, and praying for me. She'd gently wake me up for morning prayer, saying, "Omar, come pray with us." She could see how quiet I'd become. "Omar, are you okay?" she'd ask while making dough. I always said, "Yes, Mama," but the truth was, I wasn't okay. I was afraid to admit that I felt empty inside, unsure if Allah was pleased with me, and even unsure if I believed anymore. I was studying engineering at university, but it was tough. I constantly worried about my grades and felt like I was going to fail. At night I'd lay in my bed staring at the cracked ceiling, my heart racing. I prayed, asking if Allah was listening, if He cared. But I never felt an answer, just silence. That silence made me feel even more alone. My dad would be snoring in the next room, my mum whispering prayers, and I'd wonder if I was the only one feeling this lost. At university, I didn't fit in. Some students didn't care about faith and would skip prayers to hang out, smoke shisha, and joke about girls. Others were very strict and judged me if I missed a prayer or forgot a small religious rule. One time, I was so stressed about an exam that I forgot I was supposed to fast. I ate something, and a guy named Khaled saw me. He looked at me with disgust and said, "Omar, you're a bad Muslim. You'll answer to Allah." His words hurt deeply, even though I didn't mean to mess up. I started avoiding people, staying to myself out of fear of being judged. My best friend, Youssef, was 24. He was relaxed, didn't take religion too seriously, and always tried to make me laugh. We'd sit on the steps outside the engineering building, drinking soda, and he'd say, "Omar, chill. Allah isn't going to throw you in hell over one missed prayer." I'd smile, but his words didn't comfort me. I wanted to feel close to God, to feel peace, but I didn't know how. Sometimes Youssef would drag me to the market, where we'd buy cheap falafel sandwiches and watch the street vendors. Those were the few times I felt a little lighter, but the heavy feeling always came back. One day I was in class but couldn't focus. The professor was talking about structural design, but my mind was filled with worry, my dad's pressure, my mum's concern, my own doubts. A girl in my class named Imam noticed. She was 21 and quiet. She always wore a small necklace with a cross, which stood out because Christians are rare in Jordan. Some students whispered about her, calling her different, but she was always kind to me. After class, she came up to me and said softly, "Omar, you look upset. God sees your heart." That confused me. In Islam, we were taught to follow rules, pray fast, give charity. We didn't really talk about the heart. I mumbled, "Thanks," and walked away. But her words stuck with me. That night I couldn't sleep. I picked up my phone and searched, "God sees the heart." I found a Bible verse, not from the Quran, that said, "The Lord looks at the heart." It was from a book called 1 Samuel. That verse made me curious. I had never read the Bible. If my father knew I was even looking at it, he'd be furious. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. What if God really cared more about my heart than just my actions? What if faith was more than rules? I tried to ignore those thoughts, telling myself I was being silly. I was Muslim. I had to keep praying, studying, and trying to be good. But deep down, I was breaking. I couldn't carry the weight anymore. Something was about to happen that would change everything. It was a hot day in Amman in 2023, a few weeks after Imam spoke to me. I was walking home from university, my backpack full of books, my head full of stress. The streets were crowded, vendors shouting, kids running, and cars honking. The air was thick with heat, and I hadn't eaten or drunk anything all day because I was fasting for a religious holiday. I had stayed up late studying for a big exam. I was tired, hungry and dizzy. My father's voice echoed in my mind. "Omar, make us proud." I felt like I was failing everyone. My father, Allah, myself. My chest felt tight. My breathing got hard. I told myself, just make it home. But as I turned into a narrow street near the market, my vision blurred, and my legs gave out. I tried to grab a wall, but missed and fell hard. My head hit the ground, and pain shot through me. People started shouting. A woman in a hijab knelt beside me, crying out for help. A man called for a doctor, and a kid ran to get water. I could hear them, but it all felt far away, like I was underwater. Then everything went black. I thought I was dying, and I was terrified. I wasn't ready to meet Allah. I hadn't been good enough. I had doubts. I missed prayers. I ate by mistake during Ramadan. I thought, this is it, I'm going to hell. When I opened my eyes, I wasn't on the street anymore. I was in a dark, terrible place. I knew it was hell. The air was filled with smoke that burned my throat. The ground was hot like fire, and I could feel it through my shoes. Screams filled the air, painful, heartbreaking screams. Flames were everywhere, and the smell of burning made me sick. I looked around and saw people I knew in the flames, even an imam from my mosque named Sheikh Ahmed. He used to be very strict, always preaching about rules. But now he was burning, his face twisted in pain, yelling, "I was wrong, Omar. The rules didn't save me. You'll end up here too if you don't find the truth." I was in shock. I thought he was so righteous. Then I saw myself in the fire, screaming in pain, saying, "I never found peace." I saw a future where I kept trying to be good enough through Islam, but it wasn't enough. I ended up in hell, full of fear and pain. I saw my funeral. My dad stood by my grave saying, "He failed us." My mom was crying, saying she should have helped me. I dropped to my knees, crying, the heat burning me. I begged, "Allah, please save me." But the darkness got worse. The screams got louder. I thought about all my prayers, my fasting, the rules I followed. Why wasn't it enough? I saw every moment of my life when I felt lost and anxious. I believed I was being punished forever. Then suddenly, a light appeared in the distance. Small at first, like a star, but it got brighter. The flames started to fade. The screams grew quiet. I felt warmth, not burning but comforting. I looked up, my heart pounding with hope. The light came closer, and I saw a man standing in it. He was glowing, his clothes were shining white, and his face was full of love. I knew right away it was Jesus. I was confused. I thought, I'm Muslim, this can't be right. I'm supposed to see Allah, not Jesus. But Jesus spoke. His voice was calm and strong, like it could silence a storm. He said, Omar, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. His words hit me hard. I couldn't look away. He saw everything about me, my pain, my fears, and still loved me. Jesus stepped closer and showed me his hands. I saw deep scars from nails. He pointed to his side where a spear had pierced him. He said, I died for you, Omar, to give you peace and eternal life. I began to cry, tears pouring down my cheeks, as I felt a kind of love I had never known before. It wasn't like the love I tried to feel in my prayers to Allah. It was something alive, something real. It felt like this love was holding me up. Jesus reached out and took my hand, and suddenly the darkness disappeared. We were standing in a beautiful garden. The grass under my feet was soft and green. A clear stream flowed nearby, catching the light like diamonds, and flowers of every color, red, yellow, blue, bloomed all around. The air smelled sweet like jasmine, and birds were singing such beautiful songs. I wanted to stand there listening forever. Light surrounded us, golden and warm, and I felt so safe, like nothing could hurt me anymore. Jesus walked beside me through the garden, and I saw a city ahead that looked like it was made of gold. Its gates sparkled like precious stones. He said, This is heaven, Omar. There's no fear here, no pain, only joy. I saw people there, smiling and laughing, looking full of peace. One of them was my grandfather. He was a kind man who died when I was a child. I remembered how he used to lift me on his lap, tell me stories, and sneak me candy when my parents weren't looking. I always thought he was a faithful Muslim, but Jesus told me he found me before he passed. He believed in me quietly, and now he's here with me forever. My grandfather looked at me, his eyes shining, and smiled. He waved at me, and my heart felt so full and happy, but also confused. I never knew this about him. Then Jesus showed me something that hurt. He said, Look at your life, Omar. And I did. I saw myself praying, fasting, trying to do everything right in Islam. I saw myself kneeling, forehead on the mat, repeating words I had learned as a kid. I saw myself fasting during Ramadan, hungry and weak, but still pushing through, thinking it would please Allah. Then Jesus said, Look closer, and I noticed something. I was empty inside. Even though I followed all the rules, my prayers felt like empty words, and fasting felt like something I was forced to do. I never felt peace. I saw myself lying awake at night, heart racing, wondering, am I good enough? Does Allah even hear me? But there was no answer, just silence. Then Jesus said, Your actions can't save you, Omar. They can't fix the space between you and God. Only my grace can. I'm the only way to true peace. I realized my faith had left me tired, always trying to be perfect, but never feeling close to God. I saw how I prayed 5 times a day, avoided pork, gave to the poor, but it was like carrying chains. I was stuck in fear. Jesus showed me how he died on the cross, how his blood washed away my sins, and how his love opened the way to God. I felt ashamed, but also deeply loved. He did this for me. Then he showed me 2 futures. In the first one, I stayed in Islam, still trying to earn paradise. I saw myself getting older, more anxious, more unsure. I collapsed again, this time for good, and ended up back in the flames. I saw my parents at my funeral. My father was cold and said, "He failed." My mother cried and whispered, "I should have helped him." My heart broke watching that. But then Jesus showed me another future. This time, I followed him. I saw myself full of peace, no more fear, no more worry. I saw myself smiling, reading the Bible in a quiet room. I saw myself caring for my parents, talking to them about Jesus. I saw my father's face soften, my mother's eyes light up with hope. I saw myself at university, telling students about Jesus. They listened, some cried, some prayed. Jesus said, "This is the life I want for you, Omar. I love your family. I love your city. Go back and share my truth." I dropped to my knees, tears still flowing, and said, "But how? I'm Muslim. My family, my people, they'll hate me. They'll call me a traitor." Jesus placed his hand on my shoulder, and I felt a fire inside me, not a bad fire, but one that gave me courage. He said, "It won't be easy. They will call you names. Some will hurt you, but I'll be with you. I'll give you peace." Then he said words I'll never forget. "Come to me, all who are tired and burdened, and I will give you rest." His words gave me hope, like a heavy load had been lifted. I felt free, like I could finally breathe. I looked at him, my heart full, and said, "I'll follow you, Jesus. I want this peace. I want this life." He smiled, and the light around us became even brighter. I saw the garden again, the stream, the flowers, and I knew I'd never forget it. Jesus said, "Go back, Omar. Be my light in the darkness." I nodded, willing to do whatever he asked, even if it cost me everything. I had seen hell, I had seen heaven, and I had seen the truth. Jesus was the only way, and I was ready. I woke up in a hospital room in Amman. Machines were beeping around me. My head ached, and my body felt weak, like I'd been asleep for days. The light above me was too bright. I opened my eyes slowly and saw my mother, Isla, sitting by my bed. Her face was pale, and her eyes were swollen from crying. She held my hand so tightly it hurt a little. When she saw I was awake, she gasped, "Omar, you're awake, thank God." She started crying again, but this time with joy. She kissed my forehead, her hands shaking. I tried to sit up, but my head spun, so I lay back down. "What happened, Mama?" I asked. She wiped her tears and said, "You collapsed in the street, Omar. You hit your head badly. There was blood everywhere. People called for an ambulance, and they brought you here. The doctors said you were out for hours. They didn't think you'd wake up. It's a miracle, Omar, a miracle." I looked at her, my heart racing, and said, "Jesus saved me, Mama." She froze, eyes wide, still holding my hand. "What do you mean, Omar?" she asked, her voice trembling. "You were calling for Allah when you fell, that's what people said." I took a breath, my throat dry, and began telling her everything. How I saw hell, how I saw myself burning, how my anxiety was like fire, how the Imam screamed that the rules didn't save him. I told her how Jesus came to me, how he showed me his wounds, how he took me to heaven and showed me Grandpa, who believed in him in secret. I told her how Jesus showed me that my faith in Islam was hollow, how my prayers and fasting never brought peace, and how he showed me two paths, one that led to hell, one that led to peace with him. Jesus told me he's the only way, Mama. He told me to share his truth. My mother listened, her face a mix of fear and confusion. She kept glancing at the door like someone might hear us. When I finished, she whispered, "Omar, be careful. Your father won't accept this. He'll be furious. And the people from the mosque, they'll call you an apostate. You know what that means here." I nodded, my heart heavy, but I felt peace inside, a kind I'd never felt before. "I know, Mama," I said, "but I can't hide this. It's the truth." Just then my father, Hassan, walked in. He had been talking to a doctor and caught the last part of what I said. His face turned red, his eyes narrowed. "What are you saying, Omar?" he shouted. "Jesus, apostate, what nonsense is this?" His voice was so loud that a nurse peeked into the room. I tried to speak, my voice shaky. "Papa, I saw hell. I saw myself there. Jesus came to me. He showed me the truth. He's the only way." My father slammed his hand on the wall, making me jump. "You're sick," he yelled. You hit your head. Now you're confused. You're Muslim, Omar. We raised you that way. Stop this before you shame our family." My mother started crying again, covering her face. "Please, Hassan," she begged. "He just woke up. Let him rest." But my father looked at me, his voice cold. "Forget this nonsense, Omar. I won't let you destroy our family." He stormed out, leaving me and my mother in silence. A few days later, I was discharged. Back at our small apartment, everything felt different. The walls seemed tighter, the air felt heavy. I started reading the Bible on my phone, hiding it from my parents. I'd lock the door, sit on my bed, and read about Jesus, his words, his love, his miracles. Each word filled something in me. I'd whisper prayers to him, asking for strength. I felt him near me, like a friend who never left. But I had to be cautious. My father was watching. He noticed every little change. I stopped going to the mosque, saying I was tired from studying, but he didn't believe me. "What's wrong with you, Omar?" he asked. "You used to pray with us. Now you're always in your room." I'd look down and mumble, "I'm just tired, Papa." But he stared at me with hard eyes, like he knew I was hiding something. My mother noticed too, but stayed quiet. She just looked at me with worry while she cooked or cleaned. One day, I messaged Miriam, a Christian classmate. I needed someone to talk to. We met at a park near school, a quiet spot with benches and kids playing. I got there early and sat, watching boys play soccer. Miriam arrived, her small cross necklace catching the sunlight. She smiled and said, "You look better, Omar." I told her everything, my collapse, the vision, how Jesus came to me, and how I wanted to follow him, but was scared. She smiled and said, "That's amazing, Omar. Jesus called you, just like he called me." My family didn't talk to me for months, but Jesus gave me strength, and he'll give you strength too. She pulled a small Bible from her bag. "Keep reading this, and keep praying. Jesus will lead you." I thanked her. It felt good to have someone who understood. Things at home got harder. My father became more suspicious. "Why don't you pray anymore? Why do you act so different?" he asked one night. He looked at me like I was someone else. One evening I left my phone on my bed and went to wash my face. My father entered my room and saw my screen. I had left a Christian app open. He was waiting when I returned. His hands shook with anger. "What is this, Omar?" he shouted, holding up my phone. "A Christian app? Are you turning away from Islam? Do you want to destroy our family?" My heart froze. My throat went dry. I didn't know what to say. With a shaky voice, I told my dad, "Papa, I found the truth. Jesus is the way. He gave me peace. I saw him." My father threw my phone, cracked the screen, and shouted, "You're an apostate. You'll shame us." My mother rushed in, trying to calm him. "Hassan, stop. He's our son," she pleaded. But he looked at me coldly. "You're not my son if you keep this up," and walked out. Shaking, I sat on my bed, tears falling. My mother sat beside me. "Omar, I don't understand this, but I love you. Your father's angry. People are already talking." I said, "I can't turn from Jesus. He's the truth." She nodded tearfully and hugged me. Days later, while studying, I got an email. I received a full scholarship to study engineering in Canada. I rushed to tell my parents. My mum smiled, then glanced at my dad. He looked up, cold. "Canada? No, you'll forget Islam. I won't allow it." My mother cried, "Omar, don't go. We'll lose you." I tried to explain. "Jesus is with me. I'll be fine." My father stood. "If you go, you're not my son." That night he returned from the mosque angrier. "They're saying we failed. You're an apostate." I felt fear. Being labeled that in Jordan is dangerous. The next day, mosque leaders glared at me. I walked quickly, heart pounding. In my room I prayed, "Jesus, help me. I want to go to Canada." I felt peace. Then my father gave me a choice: stay and reject Jesus, or leave and be cut off. "If you go, you're dead to us." My mum cried, "You're all we have." I didn't want to hurt them, but I had to follow Jesus. I tried once more. "Papa, please, I'm not leaving to party. I want to follow my faith." He snapped, "This Christian lie. The mosque says you're a traitor. You're choosing them over us." I said, "I love you both, but I saw Jesus." He shouted, "Go, don't come back." In my room I packed just clothes, my broken phone, some books, and a Bible hidden in socks. I hoped my dad would change his mind. he didn't. My mum helped me pack. Omar, you seem lighter. Just stay safe. I hugged her. Jesus is with me, Mama. I love you. She held me close. On the day I left, I waited with my bag. No one came. I walked alone to the bus stop, whispered, Jesus help me, and boarded the plane. Toronto was cold, big, and unfamiliar. My dorm was small. I read my Bible in secret, watched Christian videos, and felt close to Jesus. One video showed a former Muslim who met Jesus. It gave me hope. I joined a Christian group on campus. At my first meeting, I nervously introduced myself. I'm Omar, from Jordan. Jesus called me. I shared my story. Sarah smiled. You're our brother now. They became my new family. We met weekly, praying, singing, studying the Bible. I grew stronger and started sharing with Muslim classmates. Coffee talks turned into Bible study. Ali once cried reading about Jesus forgiving a woman. Omar, I want this. I feel empty too. One guy gave his life to Jesus. His peace lit up his face. I cried with him, but not all was easy. Muslim students heard. One day, Khalid and others confronted me. You're spreading hate, he accused. I'm just sharing the truth. I said, Jesus saved me. He said, you're a traitor. We're reporting you. Soon I got an email from Student Affairs. We support faith, but you're causing problems. One more complaint. You could lose your scholarship. I was scared but remembered. Jesus said he'd be with me. Then Youssef, my best friend in Jordan, called. Your father's in the hospital. His heart, he blames you. The mosque spread lies, and my parents were suffering. I wanted to go back, but it wasn't safe. I whispered, Jesus helped them. That night in my dorm, surrounded by books and my Bible, I felt led to share my story publicly. I turned on my laptop, nervous, and hit record. My name is Omar Hassan. I'm 23, from Amman, Jordan. I was raised Muslim, prayed, fasted, but I felt empty. I prayed to Allah, but never felt heard. One day, from fasting and stress, I passed out and died for a few minutes. I saw hell, fire, fear, an Imam screaming. He said rules couldn't save him. Then Jesus appeared. His light pushed the darkness away. He showed his scars. I died for you, Omar, he said. He showed me heaven, rivers, gold streets. My grandfather, who had believed in secret. Jesus said, only my grace can save. I'm the way. I saw two futures, one in hell, the other free with Jesus. I chose him. I continued. My dad called me an apostate. I got a scholarship to Canada. Here, I found peace, Christian friends, a Bible group. Ali gave his life to Jesus, but I was reported. The university warned me. I was scared but won't stop. Back home, my father's still angry, but I pray they find Jesus. I ended with a prayer. Jesus, touch every heart watching this. Heal my father. Help others find you. Amen. Then I said, will I reconcile with my father? I don't know, but I trust Jesus. Share your story. I'd love to hear it. I posted the video. Moments later, my phone buzzed. Mayim messaged from Jordan. People are hearing your story. They're curious, but be careful. The mosque is still watching. My heart was full, grateful, but still praying. Jesus, protect my family. Use me to lead others to you. And again, I felt his peace.